Joining us now to weigh in on the latest on this trial and the jury about to take up deliberations now. He's senior counsel with the Article 3 Project. Josh Hammer back on the program. Josh, nice to see you. Wow. So this thing took about 6 weeks. We wasted millions of taxpayer dollars in New York City. We had a convicted, known perjure liar, Michael Cohen, take the stand, a slutty Stormy Daniels. And then an attorney named Bob Costello that pretty much said everything Cohen said was a lie. And yet now at the end of all of this, Josh, a judge tells a jury, don't worry about the other crime that he committed to do the falsifying documents. If you just think he's guilty, go find him guilty. What kind of kangaroo court is this crap?
You know, I hate to try to one-up you, Dan, but it's actually even worse than the picture that you just described here. I mean, you have an over-inclusive and unconstitutional gag order that's placed on the criminal defendant. He can't criticize anyone besides the judge and the prosecutor, Alvin Bragg himself. You have a judge who literally donated to the criminal defendant's main opponent, Joe Biden, back in the 2020 election. You have a judge whose daughter has been fundraising upwards of $100 million for her Democratic clients as part of her perch with the Democratic partisan company Authentic Campaigns, a fundraising and consultancy vehicle here. And yes, to your point, the most ridiculous part of this whole trial to me, this is a point that I've been making over and over and over again on my daily legal show, America on Trial with Josh Hammer. I have been saying this for weeks now. When is the prosecution going to literally say what the second black letter criminal statute is? You can't say that it is 34 misdemeanor counts of New York State fraudulent bookkeeping in furtherance of insert crime here because we don't like the nefarious orange man. That's not how it works. That's literally just not how it works. As a lawyer myself, that's not how you learn how prosecution and criminal defense works. All along, I have been saying, what is the actual crime? Now, we can surmise what they're getting at is in furtherance of a federal campaign finance law violation. Okay, so stipulating that and conceding that for the sake of argument, one problem there is, does this local DA, the Manhattan DA, even have jurisdiction to bring in furtherance of a federal crime? Second, does he even have jurisdiction when the federal prosecutor's office, the SDNY, the Southern District of New York, they actually looked into the same charge and passed on doing it because it's total and transparent nonsense. So unless all of this is in there in the jury instructions, and just one final quick point, the campaign finance violation, even if they do agree that that is the in furtherance of, you need to show specific intent that the money was solely, exclusively, and unambiguously for 2016 electoral victory purposes. Unless you can show that, and unless that's jury instructions, it's all nonsense. Which the judge didn't give those instructions. He literally kept it vague like the prosecution, which is why I played that clip from that, whatever they call him. He's an attorney with CNN. I think he's one of their contributors. He doesn't work directly for CNN. But, I mean, he's been up there every day the last several weeks saying that how this case has been conducted by Judge Merchan and Bragg's number 2, his prosecutor that's in the courtroom every day, is beyond the pale. Like, he's like, I've never seen this in my life. And we've heard this now from lawyer after lawyer on liberal networks say, I've never seen anything like this. So my question is, do you think, will there be at least one person out of 12 that feels the same way, like that knows enough about the law to go, wait a minute, what am I supposed to go in this room and do? Because I don't get it and I didn't hear a crime. So the point that I have made, again, on my show, ever since that we learned not the identities, but at least the vocations and kind of the background of the 12 jurors, the point that I have made is I actually do take some solace in the fact that 2 of the 12 individual jurors happen to be lawyers by background here. Now, look, going back to first year of law school, now, look, I'll concede they're probably liberals, right? I mean, they're probably liberal attorneys. This is New York City. So if your only variables that they live in New York City, you assume that they are political liberals. Having said that, they are attorneys, and like me, they went to law school. And one of the very first things you learn when you do an issue spotter exam in law school is, well, what is the actual law here? What is the source of law? Is it a constitutional provision? Is it a statutory provision? Is it a criminal statute? Is it a civil statute? Is it judge-made common law? Is it international treaty? Is it so-called international, aka made-up law like the United Nations or someplace like that? What is the source of law actually doing here? So I do take some solace in the fact that you have one corporate lawyer and one civil litigator there on the jury. Again, they're probably liberals, but if they have any morsel, any modicum of scruples or intellectual honesty in their bones, in their integrity, Dan, I think they're going to have to go into that jury room and ask the most simple question in the book here, which is, guys, I know we don't like Trump. That's probably what they're saying to each other behind closed doors. No kidding. But what's the law? What is the actual law?
Thank you. That's what I think will happen. Few seconds left, so I want Josh Hammer on the record. Okay? Guilty, acquittal, hung jury. What say so? Josh Hammer, go.
So my prediction's hung jury. I'm not confident in that prediction, but I do think that's more likely than not.
That's exactly what I've said for the last couple of weeks. I think I gotta hope and pray to God, and for the country's sake, so that Trump can win and get us back on track in this country, away from the horrific things the Biden regime have done. I gotta think one sane New Yorker, even though they all hate Trump, I'm sure, all 12 of them, and the 3 alternates, that somebody's gonna go, they didn't prove jack squat to me, and listening to the law, I don't see a crime. I'm gonna go with you. Not acquittal, not guilty, hung jury. It's gonna take, I think, a couple days. They're gonna argue over it, and we probably won't know for a few days. That's what I think. Josh, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for coming on again.
Thanks, Dan.
Yep.